Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder as I head out for a walk and deliver an episode to you while I stroll around. I'm Brendan Riley. Well, if you are listening, you can hear there are a lot of birds around right now. The sparrow broods were particularly productive this year. It's interesting, I was just reading about sparrows, and one of the main things that determines the likelihood of success of viability for sparrow chicks is large bugs, if the parents are able to feed them large bugs. Well, with the cicadas, all of the sparrows that bred this year were able to feed their chicks tons of bugs, which means that way more than usual sparrows survived to fledge and are now flying around wanting food. I worry that this is going to mean a rough year for the sparrows in terms of finding food, because now that the cicadas are gone, the increased food supply does not still exist for the cicadas or for the sparrows. Honestly, what I'm a little surprised about though is that we haven't seen more birds of prey around, although I suppose this effect has happened everywhere. So wherever the birds of prey are, their sparrows are already more populous than usual. So, well, the cycle of life, eh? I'm reflecting on this on the morning of July 1st. It's July 1st. The summer is a third over, which is kind of a terrifying prospect given how much work I need to do this summer. But with the arrival of a new month comes another top of the stack. That's right, it's time for Top of the Stack, July 2024. If you're new to the podcast, Top of the Stack is a segment or an episode in which I review what I played last month and I talk about what's coming up next month. I also set a goal for myself of 4 different games that I might play, 3 of which, if I play 3 of the 4, I consider it a successful month. So let's jump into it. I'll start with some stats. In June of 2024, I played 85 plays of 52 different games. My year total so far is 458 plays of 178 games. Now, lest you think all I do is sit around and play games, not true. I use Board Game Arena to pump up those numbers. So I do count my asynchronous plays, and that's part of where my inflated stats come from. I think if I just counted on the table plays, it would be roughly a third of this, maybe. My shelf of opportunity at the beginning of the month was 65 games. It went up to 67. We'll talk about that. My collection size, the goal was to reduce it. I started at 576. At the beginning of June, I was at 589. I'm now at 592. So didn't succeed there either. We're not making progress there. At this point, I'm just trying to keep it under 600. My most played game was Tipperary, 3 plays in real life. My most played game online was PAX Renaissance with 10 plays asynchronous. My top of the stack report. This month I put 4 games on the top of my stack: Mythic Mischief, The Office Downsizing Game, Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion, and Forum Trajanum. I am pleased to say I got 3 of those games played. The only one I did not get played was The Office Downsizing Game. That one will come around again in a couple of months. I'll try it again. But yeah, I didn't make much effort to get that played. I think I need to do a little bit more trying to get these games played. Just having in my head, I really want to try to get Forum Trajanum played. I was able to get it played, and it worked out great. Mythic Mischief was kind of a gimme. I thought we'd probably play that with my nieces when they visited, and we did. And then Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion, I did have to kind of push for a little bit, but it was an easy sell. So I'm now at 13 out of 18 possible plays. If I were to accomplish all 4, remember I get 3 is the sort of goal. So in 6 months, 18 would have been perfect, but I put 4 on the list each month. So if I'm hyper vigilant, I could get to the point where I got 36 out of 36 at the end of the year if I play all 4 games several times in the next cycles in the next few months. That's unlikely, but I could do it. I did try out a number of games this month. At the beginning of the year, I had 34 new games tried this year, and I tried out several this month. Mythic Mischief, Chicken, Picture Perfect, Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion, Voidfall, Inventions, The Evolution of Ideas, PAX Pamir 2nd Edition, and Tipperary. I did try some new expansions this month as well, or one anyway. I was at 5 new to me expansions this year, and I continued my pace of 1 a month. I tried out the expansion for chicken, so that puts me at 6 new expansions tried this year. I did dust off a number of games coming into this month. I had dusted off 16 games. This is a month of dusting, I guess. I did very well. I played a handful of Stars, which had been 5 years, 3 months and 16 days dusty. I played Sheriff of Nottingham, 3 years, 9 months, 27 days dusty. I played Hue, which is one of those tiny Pac-O games. 1 year, 5 months, 22 days dusty. I played Hellboy, the board game, 1 year, 1 day dusty. I played Root, 1 year, 3 months, 3 days dusty. I played Targi, 1 year, 15 days dusty. I played Valley of the Kings, 1 year, 7 months and 20 days dusty. Forum Trajanum I had played online, so you notice I didn't put that in my new plays. That was a return, but I'd never played a physical copy. And when I played it online, it was 3 years, 7 months and 28 days ago. Nexus Ops, 7 years, 6 months, 12 days dusty. Blood Rage, 5 years, 6 months, 19 days dusty. And Magic the Gathering, 1 year, 4 months, 9 days dusty. For a total of 26 games dusted off this year. So I got 10 this month. That's pretty good. I'm feeling good about that. I want to keep on that pace. I like going back to games I played before, particularly if they're on my shelf. Letting them get dusty that long on my shelf. It's good to go back to them because maybe they aren't a good fit anymore. Nexus Ops is a good example of that. I did have 2 notable plays this month. I said Hadrian's Wall. I finally got it played on the table and I finally get it. I kind of had fiddled with it before. I tried online a couple times, but it was never really clicking for me how it worked. Having played it on the table now, I get it, baby. And then Santo Domingo. This is a game that went dusty for a while. I dusted it off a couple months ago, and then I've played it again since. This is a really nice little, I don't know what you call it, hand management game with some interesting quirks and cool little strategy to play. It plays in about 15 minutes, but it's really satisfying. There's a little bit of trying to read your opponent, and I really like it. So I think I'll probably keep this near to hand and give it a try a few more times soon. That's Santo Domingo. All right, making good progress, telling you about my monthly plays. I didn't really talk much about those games dusted off. I have been talking about them in my podcasts. Handful of Stars I mentioned already. Root was an interesting one. It's still not my favorite game. I like it. I think it's pretty interesting. I'll play it when people want to, but it's probably not going to be a game I suggest. My son really enjoyed it though, which is interesting because he seems to like, I have no idea how to filter which games he likes or not. I think he was originally attracted to Root by the fact that it had cats. And since our play of it in person, he went and bought the online version for Steam and has soloed it a bunch to try out different things. I don't think he bought any of the side factions yet, but he really is going to town on it, enjoying it. Valley of the Kings was really fun to return to. Forum Trajanum was great. I don't think I talked about that in the podcast much, but I really do like the nuance of the different pieces, the getting the bonuses, the trying to score things, and I think it's a game that I'll try to get back to the table, or maybe now that I understand it, it would be a good one to fire up on yukata.de. If there's anybody out there that really wants to give it a try, swing over to yukata.de, send me a message. My username there, I bet it'll be hard to guess. Yeah, it's Wombat929. You knew it. I knew it. We all knew it. Okay, so that's a little bit of commentary on the dusty games. My 10 for 10 progress. This was a good month for that. We'd really clipped ahead on a lot of things. As a reminder, my 10 for 10 this year, just in case you're entirely rusty about 10 for 10s, a 10 for 10 is a list of 10 games. Normally, it's a list of 10 games that you're trying to play 10 times each. That's the basic idea. The way that I'm doing the 10 for 10 this year is I've picked 10 categories of games, and I'm trying to get 10 plays in that category for each. And so each category I'm going through and logging. So we've completed the legacy/campaign category, mostly with Frosthaven. Frosthaven and Sagrada Artisans were most of those plays. The nature/animal category. Now this is real nature or animals. Games focused on real nature or real animals. And we got Ark Nova, Wingspan. We played Ark Nova twice. I played Ark Nova twice and Wingspan once this month, putting me up to 9. Coming into the month, we were at 6 plays in that category. The 3-hour game category. This is one that we've got actually some Frosthaven plays in this category as well. Once we finish the legacy/campaign category. But I played Septima, which took us just over 3 hours, and that pushed us up to 10. So I'm now at 10 plays, and that category is finished. The cute animal category, now this is the opposite of the natural animal. The idea is these are cute animals that have been like anthropomorphized, put into situations that animals don't normally play in. I'll confess, one of the things I had on here is I wanted to try a couple more plays of Raccoon Tycoon. Then I ended up selling that game before I played it again. So the cute animals there are not there. But you know, we have Everdell that we have played a lot in the past. We haven't played it this month, but it's a game that we enjoy. But I did just mention we played Root. I count Root as a cute animal game, which puts us up to 4 plays this year so far, which isn't great, but if we got on an Everdell kick, we could very easily knock out those remaining 6. Wouldn't be that hard. I'd also like to return to Everdell Far Shore, because that one, first time we played it, it was fun, but my wife I did not properly stress in the scoring, in teaching the game, how the scoring would work, particularly for the bonus goals. And so she didn't acquire as many of those as she should, and the scores were not as even as the gameplay would have suggested. So hopefully in trying that again, I can teach it a little differently and it'll go over better. But we do have regular Everdell, and there's a number of other games that could fit this category. But that one's only at 4 so far. We're looking to play escape room style games. The Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion game was one of the Coded Chronicles games from the Op. I liked it a lot. The system's pretty good. It's in the neighborhood of something like Unlock. I can't recall if you have to use an app to solve anything. Oh, each player has their own booklet. That's what it was. Each player has their own numbered booklet, not unlike Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective or something like that, where when it's your turn, you're going to read a particular entry, and that adds to the information. It opens up packets, and you do have some Unlock style stuff, but it's often storytelling and choices, not dissimilar from adventure games, the Phil Walker Harding and Brett Gilbert game. And plus you get to say things in like the Scooby-Doo character voices, and that's always fun. So that was Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion from the Op. Definitely worth trying if you get a chance. And that put us up to 6 escape room style games played this year so far. I did not play any games that I put in the novelty category this month, so we're still at 3 games in that category. The next category is games that are expanded, by which I mean there is an expansion added in while we're playing it. One of my plays of Ark Nova would have fit in that, but I wanted to finish out the Animal Nature category because there are more games that are expanded than I play Animal Nature ones. Any future plays of Ark Nova will certainly include the Marine Worlds expansion and thus fit in this category. Nonetheless, I did get 1 expansion played when we played Chicken. We also used the expansion for our second game, so I got to count that play as an expanded game. It wasn't a huge expansion, but that wasn't the category name. We're up to 8 plays. I have no doubt that one will be easy to finish. Then the last 3 categories 8, 9, and 10, are all related to the alphabet. So what I said is I wanted to play 1 game starting with each letter of the alphabet, and that gets me 26 letters. And then the last 4, I said, what if I play games with numbers 1 digit, 2 digits, 3 digits, and 4 digits? And my idea was to have the numbers be at the beginning of the game, like 7 Wonders. The 7 Wonders is the only one that's ticked one of these boxes. I have a lot of games with numbers in the titles, but almost none have the number at the beginning of the game. So this is the question I'm gonna have to ask myself is, do I stick to the numbers at the beginning of the game rule and seek out games outside of my collection? Or do I relax that and say, the game just has to have that many numbers together? In which case it should be much easier to get the games played. That'll be a decision to make. I'll give myself a couple more months, see if I can start finding those games. If it's proving exceedingly difficult, I can always change my idea later. One option would be I could try to find a friend who's got an 18xx game and play one of those, because those always start 18, 12, whatever. That would be one way to do it. I did have a missed opportunity. At Goodwill, I found a copy of 1776, the game about the American Revolution, but it's like a war and chit game. It's an Avalon Hill bookcase game. They wanted $8 for it, and it would definitely go in my collection as a quote-unquote novelty game, but it's not in a category, like I don't collect the Avalon Hill book games, bookshelf games, I'm not super into that. So it would have been just getting it for the novelty, and $8 was more than I wanted to spend for that kind of novelty. I may regret that later, but there it is. I did actually get some painting done this month. My June goal is the same painting goal I've had the whole time so far, or all year, which is paint the unpainted Frosthaven minis, paint the Cerebria minis, and finish the Hellboy minis. I did paint 2 of the Frosthaven minis, which has worked out nicely because those are the ones we're still using. I want to get the rest of them painted now so that when people retire and pull out a new one, it's already painted. That just involves actually making time to do that. I may switch though and do the Cerebria minis, because I really would like to play that game. And next time I play it, I want to play with painted minis. So that needs doing. On to my Shelf of Opportunity report. We had a pretty good Shelf of Opportunity run this month. Like I said, we moved it from 65 to 67 games. So we increased the number of games that we hadn't played. Part of that is because I picked up 2, 8, 10 games. Although 2 of them I did not put on the Shelf of Opportunity because they're games I've played before. Now I know that's kind of breaking my Shelf of Opportunity rules, but these are games that I picked up because they're staples of the collection. I had donated them to my college board game club, and I found new copies at Goodwill to pick up for myself. So for me, there's an argument to be said, like, it's kind of like just taking my copies, like I loaned my copies. Like if I had loaned my copies to my college board game club and I took them back, I would not consider them needing to be on the Shelf of Opportunity because I had loaned them out. So that's kind of how I'm treating these. That's Throw Burrito and Beyond Balderdash, which is why the collection size went back up. I also did cut 1 game out of my Shelf of Opportunity. This is Lady's Choice. This is a game I picked up. A friend had a bunch of copies they hadn't sold, and I bought one because it looked amusing. But then I read reviews on it, and it seems like it's got regressive humor in it that I considered, like, well, maybe give the game a chance. And then I just decided, why bother? Enough of the stuff I read about it just said, like, it's not really worth my time. So it's just leaving the collection unplayed. And it's rare that I do that, but it doesn't seem worth it. Several of the other games I acquired were from a friend giving them away. I think I mentioned that earlier. Finally, I acquired 4 expansions this month. 3 of them are Honey Buzz expansions that came out from a Kickstarter a long time ago. And one of them is the Scoundrels of Skullport expansion for Lords of Waterdeep. I had some Amazon points laying around, going unused, and somebody with points unused is in want of a board game, as I like to say. So I picked up the Scoundrels of Skullport expansion and used that as an opportunity to ditch the seemingly cool but actually not very useful insert from Lords of Waterdeep and swap it out. So I now have the Scoundrels of Skullport. I'm going to have to play the game with that in it sometime soon. Finally, for next month, getting started, I've picked out 4 games that I'm going to try to play next month. The first of these is Terrors of London. This is a 2-player card battler in which you represent sort of Victorian era, public domain, creepy crawly monsters that are rampaging London, and you're trying to, I don't know, get the most power or something. Looks fun. We have Space Freaks. I'm calling this a shelf clearer choice because I suspect this will be a one and done. I won it in a contest. I think it looks amusing. I'd like to try it, but I wouldn't be surprised to discover that it's not a game I want to keep, and I'm ready to get rid of it if need be. I'm going to try a solo game, Warp's Edge, which looks pretty cool, and I would enjoy getting a hold of, or I would enjoy playing. And I'm going to try again with Switch and Signal, a cooperative game that I got a few months ago, and I've been trying to get played. I think I did have it in my Shelf of Opportunity list once before and did not succeed, but today is a new day, so we'll give that a try. Well, that brings me to the end of my top of the stack list. I'd like to know, what did you play in June? What are you planning to play in July? You can share both of those ideas over on Board Game Geek and Guild 3269, and I hope you do so. Thanks for joining me in my walk today. I hope your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Bye-bye.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.